Welcome back to Her Health Code. I'm Jess.
And I'm Michelle. Welcome. Today, we are going to talk about all things that help reduce your sugar cravings. And so, to get started, Jess is going to explain what she does to reduce those sugar cravings so she's not finding herself in the kitchen cabinet at 10 p.m. at night.
Yes. And I will preface this by saying that it wasn't intentional how I stumbled upon a way to reduce my sweet tooth. I've never had a huge sweet tooth, but there's always moments where you have your weaknesses. And when people are having ice cream and cake and whatever, I never say no.
Yeah. You're like, okay.
And I'm kind of a morning sweet person. That's when I want my something sweet
Yeah.
is with my black coffee. And that's really the time where I have to decide, am I going to put heavy cream in my coffee? Am I going to have something a little bit sweet with it? And never really at night. So that's kind of where I find myself. And by accident, I was doing a protocol that somebody had recommended for me after doing an HTMA panel, which is you take a piece of hair and you get that analyzed for it's a hair tissue mineral analysis. And she was saying that it looked like I needed to absorb more nutrients from my diet. And so she suggested I take some bitters. And
Okay.
I had heard of bitters before from a teacher of mine who always talks about food should be bitter. It shouldn't be sweet. You don't want to eat sweet. You always want to eat bitter. And he would talk about bitter herbs, Swedish bitters. And it was always on my awareness, but I had never done it. But I just decided, you know what? She's recommending this to be able to absorb nutrients better from my meals. So I was like, okay, I'm going to give this a try. Why
Mm-hmm.
not? And inadvertently, by doing this consistently, even just with my one meal, I could only remember to do it at night
Yeah.
before dinner. And so, even just doing it before dinner for about a month, I noticed that my black coffee wasn't so bitter by itself in the morning. It tasted better by itself. And so I had less of that inkling to go grab something sweet to have with it. And then I noticed when everybody's having ice cream, I would usually be like, okay, let's do it. And I just wasn't wanting to even say yes
Indulge in it.
to anything like that because I didn't feel like I had the taste buds for it anymore.
Okay.
So it just inadvertently turned off basically all of my sweet taste. Now, it doesn't mean I don't eat them.
Yeah.
There are some times where I make a conscious choice and I'm like, I'm going to have that. That looks
Yeah.
really good. Or I do want some ice cream
But that's
today.
pretty amazing that it kind
Mhm.
of like stunted that for you and
Yeah.
you're not like having that voice in your head going, eat that cookie.
And when I do, I can stop so much quicker
Wow.
because it's like, this tastes nice, but there's no, like, it doesn't taste as good as it used to.
Okay.
And so, like, the craving to have more isn't there because your
Okay.
taste buds literally do change to prefer bitter things and be able to tolerate them, but not only tolerate them, but actually choose them.
Choose them
Oh,
and
want to eat
and
them. It's nice to really enjoy eating them and not just be like, okay, I'm going to have some kale because okay, I'm going to eat Swiss chard and broccoli because it actually does
yeah.
taste better
Yeah.
when your taste buds shift to more of a bitter palate. And I know that, mine just kind of happened inadvertently, but there is some science out there to say that it doesn't take long to shift your taste buds. So if you were to stop eating sweets for 3 or 4 days, it starts this shift as well. I
I
know that you have some hacks as well.
I have a few hacks,
Hmm.
but I will say I've never tried the bitters, which
Hmm.
maybe I should because I will say I actually have a huge sweet tooth. I do have that voice in my head that calls me that says, "You need that cookie or have some more chocolate." When I'm having a bad day, it really is my comfort to have something sweet and it does call my name a lot. I do allow myself to have some sweets over, especially like we just had the holidays. So I had indulged in many of the different treats and stuff. But what I do to try to change my taste buds back from having all that sweet food is I start having arugula, like a little bit of arugula before my lunch and dinner. And I know this sounds silly. It sounds crazy. My husband laughs at me when I do this, but it truly does work. And I only have to do it for like a day or two. And I really don't have those same cravings anymore. And it's really just taking like just a little bunch of cleaned arugula and I just chew on that and eat that and before my meal because I don't like it enough to make it as part of my meal because I actually think it makes the rest of my meal taste yucky. So I actually eat it more like a supplement than I do as a food. And maybe I'll be honest, like hearing you talk about bitters again, I'm thinking maybe I need to try bitters. And I think the one you use, you're going to put down in
Oh,
the show notes. I
yeah.
think you said it was called Gaia bitters.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
I'm gonna try
whether you're a
that
sweet
right
tooth
now.
like me or, occasionally like a sweet like Jess, there are different ways that do help change your taste buds. The other thing I do, and I'm not really sure if there's any science behind this one, but I it helps me, but I make sure to get my sauerkraut or kimchi
Always.
in a tablespoon before lunch and a tablespoon before dinner. And I really do notice a difference if I have those versus the days that I don't take them in my sugar cravings. And so for me, it does help my sugar cravings if I have my sauerkraut or my arugula. But
Yeah.
that for me really, really does bring me back on track and not have that voice in my head like overpowering what I should be doing, which is like filling my body with nutritious food.
Now, do you notice on days that you don't do it, are those the days that the creep back in?
Oh, heck yeah. The cookie monster just comes yelling like, yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely have a very big sweet tooth. And
Try the bitters,
I know that about
and we
myself.
can definitely check back in on how you do with
Yes.
bitters, and it might take a couple of weeks. They say it takes a couple of
Yeah.
weeks to really shift. I've read within 3 to 5 days
Okay.
of not having sugar, it can change your taste buds.
Who knows? Maybe I'll actually want to eat those foods like in my meal and
Right,
not
and
just
not
as a
just like a quick
supplement. Yeah. Not just like a shove, like get it in there kind of thing.
Mhm.
I think that's a great test.
And I think this is a perfect time of life to be doing these conscious experiments with your diet because blood sugar and glucose and insulin, all these things start really mattering right now in midlife with
Yeah.
all of the changes happening with our hormones. And so it's a really good hormone health practice to bring in as well, I think, so that you
Absolutely.
don't have to start really worrying about becoming diabetic.
Yeah, it's not just about being fit or being
Mm-mm.
thin,
No,
and not putting on extra weight to eat sweets. It
no.
has to do with not wanting to develop things like diabetes,
Mm.
but it also, and a lot of people don't talk about this, Jess, but when I was indulging in these Christmas goodies, and I think I chatted with you about it afterward,
Yeah.
but I indulged so much that I kind of went into like a light depression. Like I was feeling so low, and people don't talk about how sugar it stimulates your system and it's that huge dopamine hit, but what happens when you don't have it for a day or two, you're dropped down and you feel it, the low mood, you feel really crappy, and you're just like, it's terrible.
And then, of course, all the emotional things that and the thoughts that start coming with, "Why I did this and I ate too much of it."
Yes.
There's a lot of things attached to eating sugar, both physically for our health and mentally and emotionally. So
Yes.
it's better, just be bitter. Be
I'm going to get
bitter.
you a t shirt that says, just be bitter. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to check back with you guys in 30 days and I'll let you know how I did. So thank you again for joining us. Thank you for listening. And that's it. Signing out. I'm
Signing
Michelle.
out.
And
And I'm Jess. Be well.